So today I have some interesting clips to show you because I was scrolling through TikTok last night and I came across these videos that were posted of a sneak peek of the new Duggar family documentary called Shiny Happy People. I found these clips to be so interesting, so I wanted to post a video about them in case some of you guys haven't seen them. As I'm filming this video, the documentary is still not coming out for 2 more days, but the day that I'm posting this video, the documentary will be out. So if you guys watched it, you may have seen these already, or if you're gonna watch it, you'll probably see these later on. As of right now, these are just clips that I have found of sneak peeks of it, and obviously I can't show the whole thing, but I'm gonna show you guys like the most important parts, or the ones that like stood out the most to me. Now, I just did a video where I was talking about this documentary if you guys would like to watch it if you haven't seen that one, but if you did, I think that these clips alone are basically exactly what I was talking about when I was saying that this documentary is gonna be so disturbing. Amy, who is a cousin of the Duggar kids, is in this show, and she sat down with her notebook in this sneak peek, and she was talking about apparently Jim Bob had taken all of them and set them down and told them like how to be a good wife. And in this clip, she had actually wrote down that he said that your husband is your leader.
I have a notebook full of IBLP rules. So I took these notes in the living room with the other kids, my other cousins. Yeah. Jim Bob, of course. Values to be a good wife. He is your leader. Your husband is your leader.
There are a lot of people that follow this viewpoint that when you get married, that man you're married to is your leader and you're beneath him. Then we obviously know the whole umbrella thing from IBLP where it's like God's here, the husband and dad is here, and then all the women and kids are beneath. So we know that this is something that they're being taught, but it still gives me chills to hear her say that. I can't imagine being a father, being Jim Bob, and what could be going through your head when you're sitting down in front of your children, the kids that you made the decision to create with your wife, that you're sitting down in front of them and you're basically telling them to obey the man they married just because, and that he's their leader. That can be so damaging, and we see that with Anna Duggar. She was brainwashed into believing that that's what she needs to do for Josh, and she's doing what she's been taught to do perfectly. She forgave him and is choosing to stand behind him regardless of what that does to her children and regardless of how that makes her be perceived. She doesn't care because she was taught, Josh is my leader, and when he messes up, I need to forgive him. God told me to do that, when in reality, a man sat down and told you that that's what God said to do. I don't know why any of these people that are in these cults don't ever sit there and think about the fact that you're literally being told to follow a man by a man. Of course he's gonna tell you that. She said loyalty can only be demonstrated in adversity.
Loyalty can be demonstrated only in adversity. Think about what that teaches. Teaches you that you have no way out. And no matter what they do, loyalty will shine through in adversity. How messed up is that?
So basically, in hard times, when something goes wrong, when there's something bad or negative that has happened, that's when you can prove how loyal you are. So Josh messed up in the worst way that you could possibly imagine. And Anna's over here like, I need to prove my loyalty and my obedience. And this is why it's so damaging, because this girl was taught this from childhood. Now she's teaching her other children this, and it's a cycle that's going to continue of abuse where these people are being taught that they need to stay in these situations that are harmful and damaging because that's what God wants you to do, when in reality it's men making it up because they want you to do whatever the hell they want you to do. That is fact. In this documentary, TLC is being called out, as they should.
TLC created a PR show for Gothard's teaching.
This show would not have been anything without the kids. It wouldn't exist without the kids. You need the 19 kids and counting for it to be something that people want to watch. Yet they were the most mistreated and misguided. They were the ones that had to take the blunt end of all of this crap that their brother did. Whenever Jessa and Jill did that interview with Megyn Kelly, which I reacted to on my channel a while back, like, it was incredibly shocking because they were downplaying the type of abuse that they went through. They were saying things like, so many other people have gone through things that are so much worse, that he's not any of the things that he's being called, even though he literally did actions that is those things. They were talking as if like, oh, we were asleep and we didn't know it was happening, as if that made it any better.
It's like you never think like this will happen to me or something. And in our case, it's very mild compared to what happens to some.
I know
young
so many
women.
girls go through things that are way worse.
So for me, even when my parents came and sat down and told me this, I was like, really? Like, I'm sad. I'm shocked. My parents explained to us what happened, and then Josh came and asked each of us individually, I know, but he asked me to forgive him, and I had to make that choice.
And you could just tell that they were so brainwashed and that they had been sat down by these adults and told these things and told that this was how they were supposed to feel about it, to the point where they just became the face of what everybody was telling them that they needed to say to basically make them look better, to keep the show on the air, to keep it running, to keep people watching, to keep people getting their paycheck. And it was at the expense of them. And Jill says in this documentary that she didn't want to do it, but obviously she gets on there and says that she wants to do it, because if you brainwash somebody right, you're going to convince them that their decisions are their own and that they're making their own decisions and that they want to do this and they want to follow this and that and the other. I guarantee you every single thing that came out of Jess and Jill's mouth in that interview was something that they heard somebody say first. And that's really sad to me, because I guarantee you their parents said those things like, oh, what happens to other kids is so much worse. I can't imagine being a parent and protecting your child that has harmed your other children and letting that person get away with everything, and then teaching your daughters that they need to not make a big deal out of it and that it's not that serious. It's just so interesting to me, because they weren't even allowed to listen to music with drums. They weren't allowed to wear pants. They had to wear skirts. There were so many things that they weren't allowed to do and so many things that they were forced to do in their religion, but something like their brother touching them inappropriately when they were kids, that isn't that serious. That is so messed up to me. Like, that makes literally no sense. Those parents are dangerous people. They're dangerous people to have children. They're dangerous people to stand up behind podiums and speak to however many people they're speaking to, saying, oh, you need to go follow this, in their manipulative tone of voice, when behind closed doors, when their kids need them the most, they're telling them it's not that bad. We need to forgive him for what he did. That is sick. I really like how in this documentary, in the preview clip that I saw, it's basically saying, there's been a lot of focus on the Duggars, but these are not the only families that are within IBLP and have been harmed by these teachings of Bill Gothard.
So much of the focus has been specifically on the Duggars and not on the Institute itself.
The Institute raises little predators.
I love that the documentary is going to get people watching by mentioning the Duggars, but they're going to expose things that maybe we haven't even heard before that have gone on, and share stories from other families and other survivors within the cult. There's this clip of Bill Gothard where he basically says, he's like talking about the mothers and fathers that have obeyed the Lord in bringing all of these children into the world.
We're all proud of these mothers, fathers who obeyed the Lord in bringing more sons and daughters into the world.
You literally are a freaking cult leader. Cult leader dudes are the ones that sit there and they're like, we need more in our cults. I'm gonna need you guys to keep making babies. I'm gonna need you guys to keep brainwashing these babies. That way, when I'm dead and gone, you guys can keep this bullshit that I've been spewing out of my mouth going forward. There's this part where they say, people look at Josh Duggar as a monster, but monsters are created.
People look at Josh Duggar and they see a monster. Monsters are created.
And that is what I've been saying on my channel since I first started doing Duggar videos, was that he is a product of somebody who was taught that he can do whatever he wants and get away with it, that he can be forgiven. He was taught there was no repercussions for what he did. And honestly, there is no telling the type of things that Josh was around and that he was exposed to that could have made him act this way. I am very convinced that there are so many other people that are within this that are doing or have done the same things that Josh did and just haven't been caught. And I'm just gonna throw that out there. There's this other clip in this documentary where this woman is saying that you're taught within IBLP that if a man comes up to you and he's like, I want you, that you're not supposed to say no, that that's God basically telling you that that's the person that you're supposed to be with. So you don't really have a choice.
You are not really allowed to say no to who shows up and says they want you. If a man says he wants you, then he's God's man for you.
They not only don't have a choice in who they marry, but then they don't have a choice in what they do once they're married to this person. It's so wrong that a father would want their daughter to live a life like that, that you're teaching them to not have opinions, to not be strong, to not know who they are and what they want. I can't help but wonder if Anna was one of those situations, because I saw this article I was reading that was saying that Jim Bob admitted to basically being a distraction for Josh, and that she was basically supposed to be somebody that distracted him from the bad things that he was doing. And basically like putting her in a dangerous situation with a man that is incredibly messed up. And Jill does say, like at the beginning of this interview, that she didn't want to do this documentary either.
It would make perfect sense that sitting down here today would be too much. What was it that recently changed?
Yeah, I mean, doing an interview like this isn't easy, and like I didn't want to do it. There's a lot there that like, do I want to open that can of worms? It's just hard.
So I really hope that this was 100% her decision to do this as well, because I know this has to be really hard to go over these things over and over and over again. But like I said in my previous video, I'm so proud of her. I'm proud of everybody that was involved in this documentary. I know that has to be very scary to be talking about these things and going back in your memories and opening up stuff that happened in the past that you were taught aren't that bad, and having to relive it and figure out how you feel about it today with the whole world watching. I know that it's got to be extremely difficult. There's going to be so much more in it because it's 4 parts. It's on Amazon Prime, so if you guys have Amazon Prime, which I feel like most of us do, you can go watch it there. I'm going to be doing videos talking about things that I thought are notable to talk about in the documentary. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate the warm welcome back. I'm not gonna lie, when I hadn't posted for 2 months, I was afraid that I posted a video that nobody was gonna care anymore, but you guys showed up for me and you watched the hell out of that video and really got me motivated to get back into this and to not really worry about how long it's been, and that you guys still care and that you're still gonna watch. So thank you guys so much for that. I love you guys. If you guys would like to go to my second channel and follow me over there, you can definitely do that. I would appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be seeing you guys soon for another video. Oh, and if you guys liked it,